Assalamualaikum and hello. It's me, Iqbal Ahmad, and this is Parent-actualization, birthing of intellectuals, or the last journey to the West, or how to build a successful empire. We have yet to finalize the subtitle, but for now, uh, we're gonna stick with the main title, Parent-actualization. As you can see on your screen at the moment. It needs humility to live in harmony. It was loyalty that protects a country. It needs bravery to begin a journey. It takes you and me to start a family. 1.0. No, it's not 1.0. It's introduction. Introduction. By all means, marry. If you get a good wife, you'll become happy. If you get a bad one, you'll become a philosopher. Quote by Socrates. Socrates, I don't know how to pronounce it correctly, but I bet everybody knows Socrates. Among the most prominent philosopher that has helped shape the intellectual culture worldwide is Socrates. And though one may argue about the legacy he left behind and how it affected the later generation, on the above quote, humanity should unite and make it the utmost important universal goal that should be considered as immoral to be neglected. The argument to support our claim are grounded on the basis of psychological and biological needs originally popularized by Abraham Maslow 1970 through his theory of motivation and further developed by the work of Kendrick et al. 2010. While Maslow proposed the idea of self-actualization as the ultimate goal every individual should pursue, Kendrick and colleagues highlighted the importance of parenting, which we chose to describe as parent actualization. Self-actualization was portrayed by Maslow through his infamous pyramid of needs, where he originally proposed 5 levels of hierarchy, before eventually upgrading it to be the 8 levels of hierarchy and introduced the transcendence level as a level beyond self-actualization. According to Maslow and Lewis, 1987, self-actualization is a goal which suggests individuals to strive in becoming the best version of themselves by becoming everything that they can become in order to fulfill individual creative potential. However, as critics pointed out, self-actualization is lacking in terms of practicality, especially after Maslow himself estimated the percentage of individuals that can achieve such a level as no more than 2%, let alone achieving transcendence level. Moreover, due to its subjectivity in terms of definitions, self-actualization is an unquantifiable subject, with exemplary individuals chosen by Maslow in his study barely share any common traits. As a result, self-actualization has been used by certain anti-intellectual groups to moralize their selfish pursuit of happiness to be whatever they desire to be. Self-actualization is a selfish life goal, and in his effort to push the theory beyond selfish motivation, Maslow introduced the transcendence level. Unfortunately, the psychological approach used as the framework to the theory has seemingly reached its limitation when it fails to become as popular as self-actualization. The attempt to put forward a selfless life goal by integrating moral values, spiritual needs, and scientific knowledge still could not prove it as something practical or having any significant function for humanity biologically. Although it is psychologically relevant, such limitation is what driven Kendrick and colleagues to made some modifications on Maslow's hierarchy of needs by incorporating biological needs into the framework, which comprised of 3 additional levels at the top of the pyramid. The 3 levels are met acquisition, followed by met retention, and topped with parenting. The 3 levels are what we deemed as parent actualization in this study. In his original pyramid of needs, Maslow placed self actualization at the top of the pyramid, right above the level for the pursuit of status and esteem. Interestingly, if there are any common traits among the self actualized individuals studied by Maslow, it is that they possessed status and esteem. Such is the case with Abraham Lincoln, Baruch Spinoza, and Albert Einstein, just to name a few. Hence, this is probably what led the general to view self-actualization as synonymous of status and esteem, and most probably has also led Kenrick and colleagues' decision to replace the level of self-actualization with their three levels of parent-actualization, instead of adding them on top. Thus, we postulated that if selfish motivation is the driver for achieving status and esteem, then the only possible driver for successful parenting is selfless desire that is translated in the form of successful children. And this is the most practical trajectory in developing a goal that lies beyond self actualization. Blood is thicker than water. Proverbs. There are two self-actualized individuals that has fulfilled their selfish desires, and now they decided it is time to be a selfless individual by focusing on helping other person to achieve self-actualization instead. The two individuals could work independently by being a mentor or teacher and help their students to climb the hierarchy of needs, or they can both work interdependently as a parent, husband and wife to give birth, raise, and help their children to become self-actualized individuals. The former scenario faced disadvantages biologically as well as psychologically, in which a teacher does not share the same genetic makeup with the students, could not control the foods given to them, could only provide limited protections, and may have communication and interaction problem due to different background. Through this study, we argue that the four criteria mentioned are integral to the development of intellectual character, which could only be effectively nurtured by parents. Nature versus nurture is probably the longest enduring debate in educational psychology, and it is our core objective to address the issue through this publication. To do so, we have chosen parents and teacher to represent both aspects and highlight the question of who plays the bigger role in character development of children and individuals. In the effort to hopefully put an end to the debate, we came across a thesis by Hart, Little, and Burgeon 2021, which suggests that nurture is actually part of nature, or in other words, environmental factor is actually a natural force like genetic. The ground for their thesis was based on three gene-environment correlation theory: active, passive, and evoke. Combined, the three theories suggest that human genotypes determine individual personality, behaviors, and cognitions, which then indirectly influenced how the individual interact with their surroundings, as well as how others interact with the individuals. Prinzi et al. 2009. The gene-environment correlation theory provided the basis for behavioral genetics study, which suggests that every human behavior actually has a significant genetic influence. However, we figure that the argument would not be so concrete without highlighting the epigenetic factors of diets. And the best way to do so would be to prove the claim that, in quotation, you are what you eat is correct, as popularly reported by many. Hunter 2008, Russo and Parkinson 2014. But before that, it is important to put forward a clear definition of epigenetic, and that is the study of changes in gene function that is not caused by changes in DNA sequences. Wu and Morris 2001. According to ILS 2015, this definition of mechanisms explains the development of human brains and affect human behaviors by default. To put everything in a simplified way, diets or the foods ingested is an epigenetic factor that affect gene expression and cause behavioral changes, which is best portrayed by drunkards. I repeat, drunkards. The relationship between diets and behavior is an interesting topic that we explored throughout this study, as we believe it is an integral element that connects gene and environment of every individual, hence affecting their behavior. However, it is interesting to note that epigenetics is not something that caused permanent changes to the DNA sequence. Rather, it is a reversible effect. In other words, Behaviors and lifestyles such as loss of self-control and overeating that is frequently induced by intake of alcohols and increase of insulin is reversible as well. In this writing, we put forward four anti-intellectual traits: arrogance, selfish, weak self-control, and, interestingly, bravery also made the list, and four lifestyles: smoking, alcohol consumption, overeating, and LGBTQ, to be discussed for a practical solution. Analyzing the social problems through biological and psychological perspectives eventually leads us to suggest four strategies to promote intellectuals' development in society, which all begins with leadership. There are three essentials to leadership: humility, clarity, and courage. Quote by Fuchan Yuan. Birthing of intellectuals, as our main title suggested, is a process which begins by marriage, pregnancy, and birth of a child. Afterwards, the progress would be for the child to reach self-actualization, as how it was depicted by Maslow, and finally once again followed by parent-actualization. Hence, instead of depicting life development in a form of hierarchical pyramid of needs, perhaps it would be more precise to demonstrate life in the form of a cycle. However, we will save the further explanation on that for the third chapter of this book. What is more important to be redressed in this paragraph would be the three stages of parent actualization, with focus on the mother during pregnancy stage. Throughout this study, it was established that diet can not only affect individual behaviors, but apparently can also affect the baby conceived, highlighting the important role of the mother. Abnormal body mass index (BMI) and uncontrolled diet during pregnancy results in some babies born obese. After childbirth, it is time to once again pay attention to the gene-environment correlation theory. What kind of culture the child is exposed to, what types of food the child is given, and perhaps most importantly, what kind of people the child should be introduced to, all of which plays a very significant factor in developing the child's character. In order to ensure the child's development intellectually, we put forward four traits: humility, selfless, bravery, and self-control, and four lifestyles: intake of cognitive enhancers, food, trilingual ability, self-defense skills, and good genes that the parents should nurture and pass down to the child. These requirements highlighted the important role of educational leadership applied within a family institution. There have been substantial studies conducted on the significance of educational leadership in schools over the last decades, but very few have mentioned about its importance in parenting or parent actualization, hence why we are interested in the topic. In order to determine the best form of leadership to be implemented within a family institution for the objective of nurturing intellectuals, we reviewed the article by Bush and Glover 2014 that listed down 9 types of educational leadership and selected 3 from it: transformational, moral, and managerial leadership. Out of interest, we also put forward transactional leadership model as the fourth candidate that is widely used in business management. In addition, we incorporated 4 different criteria that we believe would make a very effective leader into each leadership model: age, knowledge, status, and wealth. Understanding that no single leadership model is perfect, nor is any of it would be sustainable in a long period of time raising children, it is only wise for a leader in the family to be flexible in implementing each model using the 4 criteria proposed as the basis. Overall, it is the objective of this study to propose the leadership model that can work interchangeably with one another. According to Baer 2016, there are at least 3 objections to making intellectual character development an educational aim, suggesting it is an unrealistic goal to pursue. The first objection is: activities associated with intellectual virtues are often attributable to insignificant and trivial situational influences. Second, intellectual character requires personal transformation and it is unrealistic to think that teachers can do it, given the limited role they play in the lives of students. Third, even if it is achievable in small scale, it would fail in the larger scale due to major expenditure requirement and limited educational resources available for teachers. Hence, using all the objections as the basis of our strategy's framework, we argue that intellectual character development should be made an educational goal, and the effort should begin from parents and ended with parents, whilst teacher only played an intermediary role. Besides, what is there to lose from having an honorable objective in life? Where there is no vision, the people perish. Proverbs.